Pauhana Years, a new day for older Americans, a time for living. Your host, Bob Barker.
Hi, and welcome to the program for and by the senior citizens of Hawaii. Today on Pauhana Years, our guest is longtime island resident, piano teacher, and entertainer, Momi Jones. Momi Jones. What, Momi, wasn't that one of your own compositions?
Yes, the name of it was Kui Tree.
Is there a story behind how you happened to write that?
Well, there's a story. My father-in-law used to take care of the water in Schofield.
Oh.
Way up in the mountains. The name of it should be Kukui Tree.
Oh.
But they wasn't able to pronounce the word kukui tree at the time, so they called it Ku Tree.
Oh, Ku Tree.
So now they call it Ku Tree, but the real name of it is Kui Tree.
Oh, yes.
And I didn't sing the words. I'm supposed to sing the lyrics to them.
You have a little laryngitis today, too.
I couldn't reach the high notes, so I better not sing it.
Where were you born, Momi?
In Portland, Oregon.
In Portland, Oregon. Did you come from a musical family?
Yes, my father was one of the bass singers that from these islands that traveled with the Bird of Paradise.
Oh, he was from the islands. I see. Traveled with the Bird of Paradise. That was the original show.
The original show with Walton Tully, And I remember such stars like Lenore Ulrich, William Desmond, and Bessie Barris Scale.
Yes. Your mother musical?
My mother is, no, my father was the
He
one
was the
that
musician.
was the musician of the family. My mother was from the Kamuka Stillman family, and my father was the nephew of King Lunalilo.
Oh, he was. Oh, yes.
His grandmother was Carolina, and his mother was Kailihao.
Oh,
It was King Lunalilo's cousins.
well. Now,
And then we had such family as Daddy Bray and Bill Taylor and Samuel Malu and the Napoleons and all of that
all in the
family.
same family. You mentioned the Showbird of Paradise. Were you somewhat born in a trunk? I mean, did you travel as a
I
child?
traveled with the show during the winter months and during the summer
as a little
months.
tiny child.
As a tiny child till I was about 6. And then we came to these islands.
Oh.
My mother was tired of traveling, and so we came here.
Oh. There was something that your father was involved in the Kauai Hau Glee Club, wasn't he?
Oh, that was in the 1900s and 105. Before he went to the mainland, that was one of the very famous Hawaiian glee clubs in Hawaii. There was Jim Kololia, Jim Shaw, and all the famous singers of these islands at that time. And they traveled also in the mainland.
Traveled all over the mainland.
They traveled
too,
all over the mainland.
Now you play a slack key piano style, don't you? How did that come about? What?
Well, I began thinking of Cavallo Basin, which used to be Squattersville at one time.
Yeah, that's where Hawaiian Village sits now, huh? In that area.
No, the Cavallo Basin, the Fisherman's Wharf.
Oh, that area.
All that area. I began to think about that, and then the Hawaiian slack key began to come back to me. This is years ago. This is 1941, 42. And I just made up a little lyric of the old Hawaii and the new Hawaii.
Oh.
And so I called it Hawaiian Boogie, but everybody said, oh, it's slack key piano.
Would you do some of it for us now?
All right. There weren't any bars. There was a funny little old place called Squattersville. You'd go there and you'd hear a tune that sounded like this. It really wasn't funny. It was a grand old place where all the Hawaiians got together and sang and played music, and it was really wonderful. You'd hear this. And there was a little girl called Meliana. She'd go to Kalihi and you'd hear this. Hene hene ko aka, ko le ale apaha, hene ama amawia, for you and I. Then you'd come to Kaka'ako and you hear this. Nana kavahine lomi lomi ia. But things have sort of changed in Hawaii. You'd go down to Pauahi and Smith Street and you'd hear a song that sounds something like this. I can't give you anything but love. That's the only thing I have plenty of. Diamond rings, Woolworth doesn't sell. I can't give you anything but love. Then there was another cute little spot called Ginza, and you'd hear a gal called Manon Smith singing. Anako kawaii yakan kan musune. Akai burau susandora haite. Dade wo matsuyara ginza no machikado. Toge wa nagamete soa soa nia nia. Korega ginza no kan kan musume. But then you'd go to Waikiki and there was the gourmet. And you'd hear me at the piano singing. My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with your heart. Your lips are photographable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Then this funny little gal called Meliana went to San Francisco, and this is what she heard. And she came right back to the old Hawaii and the Hawaiian piano.
Great, great. Mommy, you had a radio show here in Honolulu years ago, didn't you?
In 1928.
28. What kind of a show was it?
It was a Mac and Momi all-request program. It was a breakfast show.
What station was that on?
On KGU.
KGU. What, you played and...
I played all the requests, and I didn't know half of the numbers that I made a stab at it at those years. Mac was Bruce McDonald, a radio commentator and announcer.
You knew a lot of the old-time Hawaiian entertainers, didn't you?
Yes, at those days, Joe Kamakau used to appear on the program, and the Transit Hawaiians, Johnny Almeida, and the Recreation Park and Recreation had a program run by Ethel Morey.
Yes,
those days, do you remember those days? And Homer Tyson used to be with us too. You remember him? Great.
Yeah.
Those days.
You translated a great old song into Hawaiian, Bill Bailey.
Yes, I did.
Would you do that for us?
Hoi hoi mai Bill Bailey, hoi mai paha oi, mehe mehe bau pokala. Kuki vau nau e nei uku vau kahali. Iki vau a hana ina vau ya oe. Mai pona ke kakahi eka wa kikpaku mai oe vau iau. Kahi uku vale no kauhana. Au he vale oe wa hewa no vau kala mai oe iau. Bill Bailey ho I mai e nei. Bill Bailey ho I mai e nei. Now Bill Bailey went to China, to Hong Kong, and this is how they greeted him there. How fan he, Bill Bailey, how fan he. Ngo oini, ngo oini. And when he went to Tokyo, this is the way it happened. Dokoi kimasu, Bill Bailey, dokoi kimasu, watashi wa ana de ashite masu ne. When he went to Korea, he was greeted, Chamcho Sumida, Bill Bailey, Chamcho Sumida. Kochu. In the Philippines, in ibig kita Bill Bailey, in ibig kita Bill Bailey. In French, oh, je vous aime beaucoup, Bill Bailey, je vous aime beaucoup. In Germany, ich liebe dich, Bill Bailey, ich liebe dich. In Spanish, niño mia, Bill Bailey, niño mia. Bill Bailey, ho I mai e nei. Bill Bailey, ho I mai e nei. Bill Bailey, ho I mai e nei.
How long have you been entertaining, Mommy?
As long as I can remember.
When did you take up piano? As a child?
Well, we used to do the summer months with Ringling Brothers and Bonham and Bailey,
Oh.
because the winter months would
Yeah.
do the Bird of Paradise.
Uh-huh.
So my father was a Bakken, and he'd work with the Ringling Circus.
Uh-huh.
That's when Ringling was alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd sit on when we do it out, street ballyhooing, we call
Yes,
it.
yes.
I'd sit on the front with the calliope player.
Oh, did you? And you
then
played the calliope?
he'd say, all right, now you hit this note and that note, and I'd hit it, and that's how I
Oh.
started my piano career.
I think every kid who's ever seen a calliope wanted to play it, or at least touch one of the notes.
Yes, it was quite
Uh-huh.
something.
So that's the way your piano started.
And my piano started, and you know how the kids with the circus would all get along and do, they'd get them to do acts with the show, and once in a while we'd walk a tight wire or do something with the show, or water the elephants.
Uh-huh, help put up the tents. Uh-huh. Well then, when did you go out on your own in the entertaining business? That is, become a professional entertainer yourself?
In 1923 or 24, I began to play with the bands here.
Here. Mm-hmm. You have done all your entertaining. I mean, have you lived in the island since that time?
I
or
lived in the islands.
in the island
then.
since that time, done all your entertaining here. Uh-huh. Where are some of the
Oh,
places?
a few spots in the mainland. I did shows in San Jose. Sterling Mawson and I did a show there.
Oh, did you? Uh-huh. Where are some of the places you've appeared here and played?
Practically
Practically
everywhere.
every place. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You mentioned some of the old-time entertainers a while ago. There was Antone Ka'o'o.
Antone Ka'o'o was the greatest hula exponent. Most of these hula teachers now have taken lessons from him. That was in the early 20s, and he died very, very early. He was so graceful, it was unbelievable. And he had such hula exponents. When they danced, their hula skirts would touch their heads.
Mm.
And one of them was Annie Hila, Mary Mitchell, Hilda Kawakahi, and ever so many, but these are the greats. Most of those that are living now will remember them, because you don't see the hula skirts touching heads anymore.
No.
Well, the hula teachers now try to do that. And well, we have very good hula teachers here now too.
There were more male hula dancers back then too, weren't there?
Yeah, and
than
they
there are today?
danced with a snap with their fingers. And it was beautiful.
I like to see male hula dancers.
They're-
You teach piano now. Where do you teach?
At Metronome Music Company, John Lai owns it.
Where is that located?
On Hotel Street, I don't even know the address anymore.
And what age students do you teach? Any particular
I
age?
take them from 3
From 3 up?
up to any age.
No top age.
No top age.
Do you find they're easier to teach at that young age than after they get along in years, or?
But it all depends. Some of them have a photographic memory and they memorize and then they can't read afterwards.
Oh, yes.
But the reading is the most important for the student.
Now, a couple of years ago, this particular Christmas time, didn't you have a rather unusual happening in your studio?
Yes, I walked into my studio and lo and behold, with the bottom leg, and there was a box next to the piano, was a spider web in the shape of a Christmas tree.
And this was at Christmas time.
And this was right at this time.
What did your students think of that?
My students were ecstatic. And I said, shall we have someone take the picture? No, we just keep it sacred, the little kids said. So we kept it until February. They had little squares with little pieces of paper in perfect squares in the shape of the Christmas tree, just little blocks
Yes.
in web.
You doing anything else besides teaching piano
Right
these
now,
days?
we're in the perfection stage of recording for Bobby Garashi. He's a up-and-coming composer. He's a pharmacist and he's a composer.
Oh,
And we're practicing his music to perfection.
It-
Try to get it
you mean he's the
perfected
composer? Or does he perform too, or you?
No,
you're doing
we're
his
doing
music.
his music.
What as solo?
No, I have a guitar player and a drummer and a bass player. My bass player is here today.
Oh, you play with a group most of the time when you entertain, or do you do a lot of solo work?
I usually use a bass player. Shata Leong usually accompanies me.
But you do you prefer having a group with you, or?
I like a bass player. It's nice to have somebody back you.
Do you ever play the organ?
Yes, I do. I play quite a number of instruments.
You do. What other instruments do you play?
Oh, I stab at the bass, the ukulele, the guitar, the saxophone, and I make sounds with the trumpet, and this sounds awful.
Did you ever do much with the organ, or just?
No, I haven't done much with the organ.
It doesn't.
but when
Does it satisfy you as much as a piano?
No, I rather have the little
You
old
like
piano.
Many pianists feel that way. They don't just feel right with an organ.
An organ is nice in church. And
Of course, they're getting so many organ type instruments today with
Now
all
you
these
don't need to
gadgets,
work
and you
at
don't
it.
even have to learn
They
anything.
push buttons.
One button and the whole orchestra plays. Momi, will you close the program with another of your compositions? There's one that you've written. What is it? Don't Say Aloha. What's the background on the writing of that?
Well, don't say aloha. We're more than friends. Just came to me one day,
Oh,
and I just wrote it.
sat down and wrote it. Okay, don't say aloha. We're more than friends.
Aloha means hello. Aloha means goodbye. Aloha means I trow. So sweetheart, don't you cry. Don't say aloha. We're more than friends. Don't say aloha. I'll make amends. Don't even sigh. Alas, goodbye. For there's a tear in your eye, my darling, please don't cry, don't say aloha, I'll miss you so. Don't even try to go. Don't. I hope you'll stay in my heart always. Our romance must never end. Don't say aloha, we're more than friends. Don't say aloha, I'll miss you so. Don't even try to go. I hope you'll stay in my heart always. Our romance must never end. Don't say aloha, we're more than friends.
Thank you, Mommy. Mommy Jones, longtime island resident, piano teacher, and entertainer, was going to do our closing theme. So that's Pauhana Years for today. Until our next program, this is Bob Barker leaving you with this thought. Music is a friend of labor. It lightens the task by refreshing nerves and spirit.
E ho'omana o mai oe, kamahina de ke mapa, kala e o, lu o lu kamana o. E ho'omana o mai oe, kamahina o Yesu. Kala e ha a he o kana au e ho'omana o oe kamahina te ke mapa e hui pu ke aloha o nā po e a pau e hai ha hai ha hai.